The international response to the suspected chemical attack in Syria contributes lots of the front pages again. However, your take on the government's standing might depend upon which newspaper you read. The Times states Theresa May is resisting calls to combine military action until more evidence is produced.
However, The Telegraph thinks Mrs. May has given her strongest signal yet that Britain would support a strike, after she and President Trump vowed not to allow the use of chemical weapons to continue.
Military action is backed by The Sun, which argues that the memories of Iraq should not be allowed to paralyze Britain's foreign policy forever.
It says waiting for the UN to solve the crisis is a fantasy and insists we mustn't be scared of standing up for what's right.
The Daily Mail is more cautious, claiming it feels very queasy indeed about stepping into what it calls the quagmire of the Middle East. The Daily Mirror accepts doing nothing is not an option, but it urges the government to seek the approval of Parliament, before being sucked into another unpredictable conflict.
The Guardian says Facebook, Cambridge Analytica and 2 other firms are facing a class action lawsuit for allegedly misusing the personal data of more than 71 million people.
On Tuesday, Facebook's chief executive gave evidence to a Senate committee over the scandal, but the Daily Mail said he was repeatedly unable to answer basic questions.
The website, HuffPost UK, offers an alternative assessment, claiming Mark Zuckerberg's appearance was derided by social media users chiefly thanks to confused and confusing questions from middle-aged politicians struggling to grasp how Facebook works.
With the headline, "Shameless," the Daily Mirror says the family of a suspected burglar have demanded an apology from the homeowner who struggled with their relative before he died of stab wounds.
According to the Daily Star, a gypsy war is looming, after travelers and local residents clashed over the flowers left in memory of Henry Vincent.
Analysis of NHS data by The Independent has led the online newspaper to conclude that the number of child stabbing victims has soared over the past 5 years.
It says there was a 63% rise in the number of children aged between 10 and 16 who were treated for knife injuries, 4 times the rate of increase in the population as a whole.
The biggest increase of 85% was among 15-year-olds.
The British Youth Council has told The Independent the figures should serve as a wake-up call.
According to the Financial Times, a new chapter is about to begin at the world's biggest car maker, following the diesel emissions scandal.
The newspaper says Matthias Müller is to be replaced as chief executive of Volkswagen by the head of the VW passenger car brand, Herbert Diess, when the board of the German giant meet on Friday.
Friends of Mr. Müller have told the FT he is not being fired, but another source says some board members wanted change.
Photographs of a seal can be seen in several papers after he was spotted 50 miles from the sea.
The Sun says ramblers were astonished to see the large, grey seal basking in a field in Thirsk, North Yorkshire.
The Daily Mirror says experts believe it was chasing fish from the North Sea up the River Swale, before stopping to take a breather.
The Daily Telegraph notes that seals possess an affinity with inland Yorkshire, often swimming up the Ouse in search of fish.
But the newspaper suggests that none travelled in more ease than the pet of the Conservative politician, Sir George Sitwell, that a servant once brought from Whitby to Derbyshire by train.